I'm really excited about today. We have our very first developer who has reached out independent of the stream and has said, hey, can you play our game? And I said, yes, I can play your game. That'd be lovely. Thank you. So we're going to do an analysis of this game, 15 Minutes Dungeon. It promises to be a roguelike mystery dungeon style sort of approach. That's pretty much all I know about it. I do know that they are doing a major glow up of it soon. They're completely changing the art style, revising the UI, UX, a whole bunch. So I am quite excited to dive in and see what the before is, so that then we can do the after. Now be sure to stick around to the end of the stream, because we're going to be giving away 5 copies of this today. The developer has kindly given us 5 keys. They did not pay for this copy. I bought this copy myself when they reached out, and then they said, well, here's some more you can give away. So, it's going to be a rad time. I'm very excited. Thank you for contributing to the Game Jam. We are so close to getting that thing going. It's possible. On Monday, it could start. I don't know. We'll see. So, with all of that being said, let's dive into our analysis. So, first off, when you launch this game, Mothman, yes, yeah. When we dive in, at the start, oh, that was interesting. Hold on. That button changed, right? I'm not crazy, am I? The button changed when I clicked onto the game. I need to see this. Yes, it did. Hold on. You can't see it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see? It says game start over there. It says game start. And then you click in, and now it says space start. So that's the first thing. That's a little weird. Yeah, a little strange. Ooh. Talking about Jacob's Law, right? If it's going to say, like, game start, flash, and then you click in, and then it gives you a button, like, that almost tells me like it's like a loading screen or something. We have a music button in the upper corner. I know that's a button. It has a very slight bevel on the edges, I think. Maybe not. I can't quite tell. But it's got the musical note, very clearly implying music. Good signifier for the on-off state. That's good. A lot of the times it's kind of easy to mess that up where you can't tell if it's on or off. So good job there. Putting it in the upper left is a little weird. This is your prime screen real estate, right? This is where everyone's going to look starting right out of the gate. So you kind of want your most important thing up here, at least for us Western audiences. So I'd expect something like settings to be up in the upper right? We talked about Jacob's Law once again on how people will interpret your product according to the amalgamation of all the other products they deal with already. That's kind of a standard. Settings go in the upper right. Okay, let's talk about this logo. It's a typographic logo, which can be fine. Typographic logos can be very nice. This one doesn't feel very intentional in a lot of ways. It feels kind of just like a typeface that somebody liked and they put in. It kind of screams low effort, right? No real logo means you didn't even have like the confidence in the project or the resources to invest into an artist. And once again, we're gonna be very upfront and honest about all this. And it is not with the spirit of like being derogatory in the slightest. It's in the spirit of what do we learn from this and what can we take away to be better game developers? We all have products that have sacrifices and have problems. Making imperfect stuff is just how making stuff works. So, once again, not to poo-poo anything, but just to provide feedback and to learn for ourselves. And then we have this button here, this orange button with the space start. I don't know, because of that space bar there, I don't know if it means I can hit space and I can click it, because it very much looks like a button, right? We got that harsh bevel on the outside. It looks like a button. It signifies as a button. And I'd expect to be able to click on it, but the spacebar makes me think, is this could be completely keyboard driven instead, in which case, why does it look so much like a button? The typography is also a little crowded here. We have our serifed font on this start, and then we have a different font on the space, and I think... Yeah, that's a different font. That E is different than this E. This is a different font from here. So we have 3 different fonts. Not even like, font styles. We have 3 different font families on the main title screen. So if those were all homogenized into one cohesive font, or 2 at the most, it would feel a lot more intentional, right? Mine sure do, says Tiny Devil. Yeah, join the club, my friend. Bob Joe Pie, hello, welcome in. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. We are doing an analysis of 15 Minutes Dungeon, and this developer reached out to me asking if we'd like to play it on the stream, and I said, heck yes! And they were gracious enough to give us 5 gift codes to give away by the end of the stream. It's a cute little $3 game. Don't need the gift code. Go buy it. They're clearly, genuinely trying to build something fantastic. They have a major update planned where this is all going to get revised. So all this stuff that we're talking about, it's already changed. It's already way better. It just hasn't been released yet. So it's with that lens we're looking through this. We also have pure black, pure white. We've talked a lot about pure black, pure white in the past, right? You don't do pure black, you don't do pure white, especially if you're going for like a organic or fantastical approach. If you're doing sci-fi, it's a little bit different because that's all about artificiality, but that's what pure black and pure white signifies. It signifies artificiality. And so we don't believe it as much, right? Hold on. I just realized my camera settings are way off. My goodness. There we go. Much better. Okay, and then we can talk color, right? We've got the orange of this button, this kind of burnt umber sort of color. Orange does tend to convey, like, irritation, anger, aggression, right? And then we have a contrasting purple behind it, right? Do like a before and after for UI design on the game after the update. That is the plan, Jack. That's actually how the developer reached out to me saying, I think this would be neat for you to do. And I said, I completely agree. So, that's the plan. So we have contrasting colors, right? Orange and blue, those are contrasting colors. Those are good. They pair well together. Orange and purple. The problem here is that this is so small. It's so small. It's very hard to, like, appreciate that color contrast and that white line. There's just a lot of visual noise in that space. If we took this... We're starting into the game. I did not hit spacebar. Okay. We're in the game. All right, let's dive in. So first impressions. I see the timer right up front. I don't know what's going on because it's not going down. Is it paused until I start moving? Is this like a turn counter in a different skin? Or is it like the game is paused until I start moving and then the timer will start going down? Feels weird we start at 14:59, although that does indicate to me this is going to start going down. If it were just like 15, I might not necessarily understand that. The game's name is 15 Minute Dungeon, by the way. So I'm assuming this is a time limit. So we have level 1, gold 0, 1 floor. We've got a debug window over here with what I assume are relic slots over here. And then items, maybe, that we'll be able to use. We got a mini map. Oh, hold on. Let me move my big head. There we go. We got a mini map down here. And I'm assuming we have our main character, which is this lovely little, punching bag lion sweetheart. 15 out of 15 health in the green. Okay, so that's a survey of all the elements on the screen. We also have this grid with kind of a low-res texture behind it. And this really harsh shadow. Okay. Man, bow ties do not like to stay on Casual Fridays. I'll tell you that much. Let's actually clip it. I do have one self-tie bow tie, but it's green, unfortunately. I've tried to wear it on the stream, and it just doesn't quite work. Bow tie on a Casual Friday with the t-shirt, though. Yes, Mothman. All right. So let's talk about kind of, now that we're beyond that gut impression of what are all of these things, what can you do here, right? I'm assuming grid-based movement as well because of the grid. Let's talk analysis here. So once again, typography. Guys, typography is 80% of your design. It really, truly is. You have to nail your typography. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different typographic styles on this screen. Once again, right? We have the serif font. We have this monospace sort of font. Comic Sans or bust. That's right. Readability. That's what it's all about. Helping out the dyslexic community. So all of these others seem to be in the same font, I would guess. I don't know if this is quite here, but take a look at this serif font. Let me grab a screenshot and we'll take it over to our browser. Why? Where's my Figma? Oh my. I have so many different Chromes open right now. My goodness. All right. Let's go to our browser. There's our Bingle Bingle analysis from yesterday. So let's put this in here. Take a look at this font here. See that 4? That 4 is rough. We talked about tangents yesterday of things that kind of feel unintentional, right? Like if I were had my hat coming right at the top of the frame, like right there. That feels very uncomfortable, right? Like it's just barely touching the top of the frame. It's not in, it's not out. But if I go up, this feels better. And if I go down, this feels better, right? It needs some space, right? You need to make things feel intentional. Speaking of which, I just realized I'm sitting down and I should be standing. Oh, goodness. So that 4, while it might look really good like in a newspaper, when it needs to be a readable, at a glance UI element, this part of the 4 worries me because none of that white is there. So you look at the silhouette, especially on this dark background, right? Let's take a look at these colors right next to each other. So I'm going to make a square that is the color of the 4 outline. And then I'm going to make another square right next to it, which is the color of the background right next to it. That is pretty low contrast, right? If we run our contrast checker, got a fail right there, right? So 1.2 ratio. The right contrast we want is 7, right? That's the closest contrast using those colors. So, look at contrast, all that sort of stuff. Remember those serifs need to be readable. So let's take a look and see what we can maybe do, just to like explore things, right? I do see the black outline is nice, but it also looks like the black outline doesn't quite like line up with things, right? We have a little bit of white up here. I'll zoom in. You can see that, right? You got some white up there. It feels like it's like another 5 layered on top and isn't quite lining up correctly. Memphis Macaroon, hey, good to see you. Welcome in. Good to see you, friend. Let's see. Are my Twitch alerts working? Weird. All right. So let's see what we can do to maybe play around with this a little bit. I'm gonna throw that on there. So let's try and keep that serifed font, right? Let's go with what's a classic serif? We could do Roboto serif. I mean, that's classic and free, so it's a good choice for indie low budget game dev. 1459. I'm gonna bring this to the front. Scale it up. And then we're going to change it. So it's not this pure white. We're going to shift it a little more into those browns, maybe. Or we could do a contrasting color. We've already got like that purple from the button on the beginning of the game. We could kind of throw the UI into that sort of purple motif, right? And like already, that feels way more legible to me. And we don't even need the black outline to highlight it because it's just naturally a contrasting color that works. So if we grab this and then, you know, like it's even smaller and it feels a lot more legible to me. It feels more in the world. And there's a lot we could do to make it feel more like it's in the world as well. We could give it a frame. Oh, we're in a group. Hold on. We could give it a frame. Give it a stroke. And the stroke could be that similar sort of purple, but maybe even more, right? Kind of lower the value a little bit more thick. Give it some roundedness. Maybe even have a slight transparent fill. Throw it back. So, I mean, that's not great, right? That's not fantastic, but it is better, in my opinion, for a pretty quick amount of time. Just quick application of design principles. We could play around with that a lot and get something a lot better if we spent the time to really iterate on it. Ariel on YouTube, hello, welcome in, good to see ya. So we can take this font now, and then we can apply it everywhere we have a one of these things. And we'll shrink that down a little bit. And we'll do the same thing over here. And it was level 1, I think, right? LV:1. That's another thing. Level is kind of the typical abbreviation for level. So if you're not going to use iconography, you know, I would probably stick with what people are accustomed to, right? Some kind of giveaway, yes! So we're doing an analysis of 15 minutes of dungeon. The developer reached out the other day and said, hey, we're doing a big glow up update for our game. And we think it would be really cool to do an analysis like you do a lot of the before and after. And this is the before. So we are just playing around and having a good time kind of exploring different options. And the developer has been gracious enough to give us 5 keys as a giveaway. We'll be giving those out at the end of the stream. It's $3 though. Like, don't rely on the giveaway. Just go buy it. It's $3. Come on. This is a developer who's really trying to make something very cool. They deserve some support. So we haven't done a lot so far, right? Just this, but it's already starting to feel a little more cohesive. If I take all these, and I take it away, right? You can kind of see. This feels a lot better. It feels a lot more cohesive. We could keep improving this, right? Like, I think instead of doing level and gold here, and this is a trap that a lot of first-time devs get into, is they rely on text too much. First-time designers as well. We could do, you know, a gold icon, right? And this is not an actually good icon, but it's going to get the idea across. Right line, and then we'll do just a simple arrow. Once again, just to show like concepts, not to say this is better, go use it. Just to make it get the idea across. This is like less than wireframing. Round. Oops. Right, like, this is all of a sudden starting to look a lot more cohesive. And, even better, it's less distracting, right? Because we're following Jacob's Law, you kind of intuitively start to understand what these are. Especially if we, like, changed some colors around or something, you know? Even if we did, like, purple and we made, like, that the motif of this is the level up color, right? There's a lot of stuff you could do to refine that visual language. These gray squares here scream placeholder, right? They're both commonly used, so either one is acceptable. What are both commonly used? LVL or LV, or text or image. Stroke, fill. Well, actually, let's just put this. Let's just reset here. LV or LVL? I don't know. I'm not really. I don't see very many LVs out there. Maybe that's just a different cultural thing. Maybe that's something on me. Pokemon. Oh, see, there's a big problem. I don't really play Pokemon very much because it's been the same game for 40,000 years. So if we give this, well, we'll just keep that the same. And then we, once again, go back to like our UI element, right? Round the corners, because we've got this cute cuddly guy, right? Cute cuddly guy is contrasting really heavily with these dark, stark, like pitch black shadows and all that sort of stuff. We want to either pick one aesthetic or the other, or really drive home the contrast. And I don't think the current UI is doing either of those. Yeah, and that is a rough contrast. That is tough. Maybe bring the value down a bunch. And that's interesting too, because we have this really dark place up here and this really light space down here. And that makes it really hard for UI, right? If you are gonna have your UI across a wide variety of values in terms of brightness levels, you've got to be aware of that with your UI because your contrast levels are going to be off, right? Like if we all of a sudden walk down here so that our clock is on top of here, it's visible right now because we are we have these rectangles here. But if I get rid of these, right, that's all of a sudden pretty hard to visualize. So be aware of that. If you have wildly shifting values for the backgrounds of your game, make sure your UI can respond to it. Doing ghost buttons like this probably is not going to be very good in that sort of situation. You'd want something a whole lot more opaque, right? Instead of being like 8% opacity for that background, we might just throw it up to 100 or something, right? But they all use it, so you should play at least one of them. I've played my share of Pokemon. I've played a lot of Pokemon. Just not more recent ones. And just because they use it does not mean that everybody else uses it, right? I'm curious how many games use LV as level. LV level game. In Final Fantasy. Interesting. Measure of how far a player has progressed through a level up challenge. Okay, so this could be an East versus West thing, right? Like Eastern cultures may do LV more often than Western cultures. Or maybe I'm just an idiot and like I'm just weird. So yeah, there you go. There are also some things that could be done here. Like without playing any of the game yet, we could do what League of Legends does, right? There we go. And we will, I don't know, steal that, I guess, right? And now we have our level there. I don't know if that's going to matter, but all of a sudden it's drawn closer to the player. It's a little bit more implied as to what this number might actually mean, in my opinion. Once again, design is subjective. But Anyways, interesting thoughts to kind of play around with. Let's get back into the game. Okay. So, I can't seem to click on anything. I can do WAS and D. Okay, so we have, and we got the timer moving down. So I can, whoa, great, all right. Attack. So if I hold in shift, I can move diagonally. Okay. I didn't know how to interact with the game. There's something to be said for that. You know, you can have a game where you just like expect the player to explore and figure it out, right? Right. I mean, the classic example is Super Mario Brothers 1, right? They give you the space to just explore, and they don't hold your hand and tell you about it. Same thing with Mega Man X, right? I watched that video. Whoever linked that, by the way, I did watch that video. It was a very good point. Ottershine, thank you for contributing to the game jam. Very, very excited for that. Yes. Thank you, Bob Joe Pie. So if you're going to have that be the case, where the player has to discover the mechanics and you're not going to explicitly tell them, then you need to do it in a way that is a smaller consequence, right? In Mario, before they ever introduce an enemy, they teach you how to jump, right? Jack, no, I think that trying to base things off convention is a dangerous game. Oh, hold on. We'll do ads real quick. All right, welcome back. Those are some pretty good lines. Simba, Aslan, classic. Those far away from me. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, Jack, we got a debate going here, which is great. Healthy debate is how you learn, or it's a great way to learn. This is great. K-Hadao, welcome in. Good to see ya. Hey, when's your first day? When do you start? Jack, I think that trying to base things off convention is a dangerous game because most likely half your audience will have different experiences and different expectation of the norm. So, I've got a lot to say about that. And I know this is an unfair exchange, right? Because I'm the streamer, I can talk, you know, live. And as chat, you have to, like, do it in a much more stilted manner. I just want to recognize that imbalance here. But, you mentioned a couple of things in there that I think are very important. 624, I have to finish my last semester first. Okay, well, congratulations, K-Hadao. It sounds like you've got a good warm-up time to get into it. That's great. I'm glad you've already got your offer. Congrats. I think you were in here a little bit ago concerned about finding employment, right? And we're having a tough time when your colleagues were finding job offers. I think that was you. And if so, I just want to call that out and say congratulations. That's great. Ooh, I can manually resize. Nice. Let's do that. So Jack, half your audience will have different experiences and different expectations. That means, as a developer, you have to know what your audience is. And if you're doing that, I think you're 800 steps ahead of most developers. So we'll just start off by saying that. Okay. If you're in that boat, you're in a very good boat. Okay. Next up. half your audience having different expectations of the norm, right? It's true, and especially in a field as divergent as games, right? Games can be very, very, very different. But I think there's a lot of value in recognizing what people tend to experience and trying to aim for something. Because even if you hit half, that's going to be a lot better than a lot of other things. Like if I jump in here, oh geez. See, like we can already see some Jacob's Law stuff here, right? So I'm expecting to click on this and I can't. And like you might say, okay, use your arrow keys. That's fine. But then I have this shift to like move diagonally. And then I'm like, well, how do I like do that? I can't do like shift W, A, S, and D anymore. I have to do shift W and A or S and D. And it's this really weird pattern that I don't think most people are going to pick up on. And if they hit, they're below half on that. I can almost guarantee of people being able to navigate this game easily, especially since there's a time limit. Like that's intense. Okay. And here we have different relics, and we select them using W, A, S, and D, right? That's weird. That's a strange thing. That's an area where Jacob's Law helps us because it allows us to know, well, just let people click on it or use the numbers 1, 2, and 3 or something. Like W, A, S, and D on this feels weird. Now, granted, we are on a time limit, so it could be they're trying to like keep your hands all in one space. You could maybe do that, but it's got to feel really intentional, and you have to drive that all through the experience, and I don't feel that intentionality right now. So Jacob's Law isn't about cowing to what people expect and then failing. It's about preserving your valuable time and energy for the decisions that really matter, right? Jacob's Law would allow this screen to feel better, and then they could have cranked it out really fast instead of trying to build out this, all of these graphics and everything. Who made this game? Let me look at the developer's studio name. And I'll throw the link in chat as well. There we go. This is made by Daruma the Factory Incorporated. And once again, they are doing a big globe of this. Everything we're talking about is essentially going to be irrelevant as soon as they hit update. But that's why we're doing this, is to see like what is the before, what is the after, what can we learn from the shift. And I've seen like their trailer for the after. It looks way better than this. Like they have made a big improvement, and I'm very excited about it. What is this game? So this is 15-minute dungeon. We still don't really know what the gameplay loop is. I think presentation matters. Absolutely Fortune's favorite. Aesthetic usability effect, right? We were talking about that just yesterday. Think about how Mass Effect does conversation choices. You could present the artifacts in a similar way. You could, especially if you were planning on a joystick controller environment. Yeah. Jack, but I think a bigger aim should be effective communication rather than either deferring to the norm or attempting something unique for the sake of uniqueness. I agree, Jack. That's exactly what Jacob's Law is aiming to explain. It's about how do you communicate effectively and transparently to the player. Because with all of these like different things, now I have to think a lot harder, right? It's why, like, think about every time you see poison in a game, right? If that poison does not actively decrease people's health every X amount of time, you then have to figure out what poison does. And then you have to remember that every single time you put on poison. It's the same idea. It's not about conforming or not conforming. It's about conserving energy on your behalf and on the user's behalf to understand the things that really matter. At a glance, I don't get timer versus turns taken. Yeah. I guess the name is the reason for the timer. Yeah, exactly, Risky Biscuit. I think that's it. I think every run is 15 minutes long, and you get that much time. So we have a huge amount of text here as well. Let's take a look at this typography. Once again, guys, typography. Don't slouch on your typography. We've got this serif font that is pretty rough to read, especially when you have that pure white. Once again, right? This is pure white. Maybe not quite, but I think that's more due to the aliasing than it is the color not being white, right? Yeah, we got pure white in the center column there, right? FFFFFF, pure white. Okay. So let's grab our practice font that we're using here. Bring it up. There was a game that poison made you take more damage instead of dot. Yeah, I've seen take more damage. I've seen like lower resistances. I've seen all sorts of stuff. In Dice Folk, burn makes your auto attack, you receive more attack damage. It's like, I have to mentally remember that every single time burn is applied, because like that just doesn't fit for me. It doesn't fit my model. So we'll scale this down a little bit. I do like how the text is kind of subordinate to the icon, although the icons are clearly kind of like stock art that they've brought across. And then, what is the text here even? Upon floor start, randomly gain one of the following. Bracket, battle, song, 1.3x attack power, stone song, 1.3x defense power, or charm song, charm added to normal attacks with a certain probability. Okay. Let me bring that in, and then we'll set this to a width. Oops. Okay. And then we'll shrink the size down. Okay. So, in my opinion, this is a lot more readable than this. I might actually beef this up a little bit to like a semi-bold. And this is starting to get better, right? It still has a long ways to go. Tiny Devil Games, the conformity is the same when it comes to controls. Pretty much everything is WASD now, but years ago there were lots of other variations. QAOP, anyone? Symbols and colors in place of keywords, says Bob Joe Pie. Yeah, and I mean arrow keys, right? Like the original Wolfenstein, you played with the arrow keys instead of WASD. And I think it was Wolfenstein 3D that brought in WASD. It was at least the first game that brought in WASD that I played when I was very, very young. So this is where we can look to like a template game, right? Let's grab. You know what? Let's just grab the default thing that already existed. Copy that. We'll bring it in. So you can see this also has a ton of information in it, but it's way more legible than this is because of a couple of design principles. If we go to our universal principles of design, that's not it. Hold on. Did I close it? Oh no. No. Universal principles of design. Here we go. So if we go to chunking, there we go. A technique of combining many units of information into a limited number of units or chunks so that the information is easier to process and remember. So we've got all of these good examples over here. We have list 1 and list 2, right? If we go over to our description we have here, this is just a flow of text. Nothing is really chunked together other than it is the effect of this relic. Let's change the name on that. But we can see an example of that here. So what if we did something similar, right? So we did on floor start. Well, hold on. Instead of obliterating that, floor start, gain, and then we can even abstract it a little bit more, right? We could say gain a random song, and then we make song like, you know, a keyword, right? And it's bolded. Extra bold, even. Although, looking at this, I'm not loving this font because of, like, that S there. It's getting pretty skinny. It's a little noisy. And then you can hover over that and then get, like, a little tooltip talking about all the different songs there are, right? Oops. So we could do battle song. And it could say, heck, we could get rid of the arrow. I still think that arrow is so dumb in Dice Folk. I don't think there's any reason for that arrow to exist. 1.3x attack power. And then ideally, you even have, like, a symbol for that, right? And you can see how this starts to become a lot more parsable. Stone song. 1.3x defense power. And we're also repeating power a lot. And that's something you always want to be on the lookout for when you are creating a universal language for something. We have power and we have power. Is the next one going to have power? Charm song? Charm song. Whoops. This is charm added to normal attacks with a certain probability. Okay. So now I'm a little curious. Actually, I'm going to keep that heart around. I think that's going to be helpful here in just a second. Then shrink that in. Okay. So now I have a question. What is charm? What are normal attacks? Are normal attacks different from attack power? I don't know. Tell them to learn how to add a carriage return. Or maybe list the types of songs and then hovering over the name gives the description of that song. You could also do that, right? So we could do gain at random. And then you could do battle song, stone song. And this could be helpful if you wanted to have different kinds of songs available to different abilities, right? If you just wanted one category for songs and that is all it would ever be, then, you know, I don't know, maybe not. Let me fix that color up a little bit. And then we'll just, I don't know. We'll, oops. Kind of throw some random stuff in here. Right? And then once again, make those extra bold. Even black. Extra bold. Black's a little bit too much. But yeah, right? So move it all away from having to be in that one space. There we go. And there we go. Like all of a sudden, this is way more legible, right? So we could as well, in order to keep on simplifying, remove power, right? And once again, this is all without a knowledge of whatever constraints or technical complications there are in the background, or even how the game really works. We still don't even really know how the game works. 3, 4, 5. There we go. Charm added to normal attacks with a certain probability. And then, like, if normal attacks is the same thing as this, then we could delete that. Finding focus. Hello. I find myself absent of hats. I don't know where the top hat is, so we'll fit this guy here. My daughter's shoe. Okay. And then we can bring this guy down. And now we start to have a visual language that is easily scannable, which is really important if you're putting your game on a timer, right? You need to be able to see at a glance with a silhouette. And there's probably a better way to say added to. Finding focus, you monster. You monster. The ball on a mobile from my son. All right, there we go. If you get loads of songs, it might get a bit unwieldy. It's true. It's true. But I think either of these directions, and any number of other directions that could also be taken, are better than this, right? I think that's pretty easy to say that this is a good way we can improve on that. Now, we do also need to start worrying about typography. Once again, we have this sort of tangent where these are the same size. We'd either want to kind of like draw that down so it is a little bit different, or go the opposite direction and like send it to black. Finding focus dev, thank you so much for the bits. Appreciate you. Mad Hatter life, for real. Does game pause during this screen? Yes, it does. Because it might be a built-in rest for the players. They got to stop and read. And I mean, honestly, frankly, Jack, there's something to that. You know? Okay, so TurboTax, if you are in the US and you do taxes, right? TurboTax is a software that will do your taxes for you. But because it's your money, you want to make sure that you have a high amount of confidence that it's doing it correctly. And so they realized that, and they built in loading times into that. They literally trick you into thinking they're thinking harder. They learned that you said TurboTax and you lost me. When they were doing their testing on their initial versions of that software, they found that they were really fast and they could run through a billion calculations like immediately and spit out your optimized stuff. But people didn't believe them. And so they added in these little animated loading screens saying, comparing all of your possible, benefits, comparing all of this and looking for new things. In reality, it finished like 3 minutes ago. But by delaying it, they give the user the feeling of trust. And you could do the same thing in something like this. If you're having a real-time game and you realize it's being really stressful, that we're looking at our dramatic tension arcs, that those peaks are spiking really, really, really high, and you need to give them a little bit more time of rest, what's the word I'm looking for? Catharsis, in a way. You can do that. You can introduce friction intentionally so that the experience becomes better. You gotta be really good at it and make sure you're doing it well, but it's definitely possible. And then as well, just a quick note on this treasure icon, that circle is broken. Doesn't feel intentional, feels kind of bad. So anyways, let's get back into the game. Every 10 turns, randomly paint the surrounding floor tiles, each with its own effect. Once again, this is another thing. Okay, no, hold on. We need to go back to the browser. We need to talk about progressive disclosure, because that's something this game could use a lot of. Progressive disclosure. In our universal principles of design, here we are. A strategy for managing information complexity in which only necessary or requested information is displayed at any given time. So, drop downs. That's progressive disclosure. Everything we were doing over here with this stuff, it's progressive disclosure. It's saying remove all the extra information you don't need right up front and let players discover it as they want it, right? And we're seeing the same thing when we go back to the game here. Come on, OBS, there we go. Same thing with this blue, red, and purple. These are all really cool, but I can't read this because it's all bunched up next against each other. It's very difficult to read. We could also talk about correct character length on line width. And I have to look up the exact number every time. So you want about 60 characters per line. So if we go back to our browser, let's count how many characters are in that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, maybe 28. So that is pretty scrunched together. Your eyes are having to go left to right and then go down to the next line and try and find the right line without missing it a lot. So that is very rough, typographically speaking. If we expanded it out right? We were at 20 something before, right? At randomly. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, we're about 50-ish here. This feels a lot better to just read as if it were a book. The problem is you probably don't want people like reading a book unless you're making some sort of CRPG or something, right? We could also talk about line height. Let me grab our line height here. That's paragraph spacing. Here's our line height. Right? So the more you space it out, it can start to feel a little floaty. But if it's too close together, you feel very claustrophobic, and it's harder to tell which line you're actually supposed to be reading. Finding a good balance is really important. I think the line height here is okay, but I think it could stand to be a little bit taller. It's funny that people are willing to wait 10 whole seconds for TurboTax to load their information, but if a video game has one frame skip, it's automatically low quality. So, Kayado, I think you're talking about something else really important that we need to recognize as game designers and developers, which is people are willing to put up with a certain amount of things whenever they enter into your service. I've heard it described as like a certain frustration gauge, right? So you have a meter that is set at a certain amount when someone comes into your product, and then it slowly depletes over time with every frustrating experience. With something like TurboTax, it's like, you don't do this right, you go to jail. Your meter's gonna be a lot bigger, right? Because it's like, you kind of have to. If you're going on like a YouTube short or a TikTok, the amount of commitment there is very small. So your frustration amount is almost next to nothing. If you have a game, and a free game especially, your meter's gonna be a little bit bigger. If you're charging $70 for your game, your meter's gonna be higher before people start of total depletable frustration, right? And of course, that gets complex. All mental models are wrong, but some are useful. I think you hit on that really importantly though, Kayado, of games, they're not as important. And so we have a lower frustration tolerance. All right. Recover HP when stepping on it sounds crazy. Weird that blue is for healing, right? Green is usually the healing color. I would really like to see what they do with green on the tiles. And if they don't do green on the tiles, I want to know why. And I hope that it's some sort of good reasoning, like, oh, it looked really, like it didn't match, it didn't hit, we couldn't find a way to make the color contrast work because green's a very difficult color to represent artificially, which is very true. Bob Joe Pie, that reminds me of when lower priced games are reviewed worse than higher priced ones. Yes, yeah. I don't exactly know what effect that is. There's got to be some name for that. Maybe Adam Grant has written something about that. But yeah, the more we invest into it, the more we the more we perceive it to be of value, right? Sunk cost fallacy, Tom Sutton. Yeah, I mean I think there's probably a lot to that, to be fair. I think there's a lot to that. Let's go with artist. I don't think it's going to matter because I still don't know how to attack. I'm just going to run. This is a lot of penguins. And I died. So we also have all these zeros here. Unless you're going for like a really arcadey feel, I would not have all these zeros. Once again, lots of repeated information that's unnecessary. I'm having to mentally parse this all out, right? I'm having to mentally get rid of all these zeros in order to understand my results. Even if they just made the zeros semi-transparent, that would help a lot. And you would still kind of get that feeling of, ooh, look how big the number can get. But usually games do have that feeling of, look how big this number can get, just by changing the size of the field and making that very visible. So if we go to our browser again, right? Right now, it's all the same color, so it's hard to like determine how big this number can get. But if we had a box, right, all of a sudden, we know implicitly how large this number can get. And now we don't have to like be trying to parse that out. Doesn't that feel way better? Doesn't that just feel a lot more open and a lot less attacky on you? We go to something like Bingle Bingle from yesterday. That's exactly what they did, right? See that score up top, score over here. You can see, oh my gosh, this gets big. But it doesn't distract you because they fade it out. So, there you go. I still don't know what this game is about. Yeah, I'm struggling to figure out how to actually play. Now, I'm seeing food here. I'm assuming that's going to heal me. If I step on it, will nothing happen? Oh, medicinal herb. Heal 30% of max HP. There we go. So what happens if I cancel? Does that stay on the ground? Yeah, moving diagonally is difficult. We have the same 3 relics as before. That's a bummer. We're going to go into ads real quick. Water power up is pretty OP. Yeah, that's why I always go tardigrade build. So we've got the same relics here. I don't know if that's all the relics there are. Okay, miss. Once again, typography, rough. It's kind of skewed. It doesn't match the camera angle very well. Low contrast on the background. Once again, these look like pure black shadows. This tells me like this is more of a horror game. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's, right? We have cute things with this very sharp, scary, harsh lining on the shadow. And then the stairs, they just don't line up inside of the grid, so it just feels a little messy. Oh, artist attack +1. Do I have attack now? Attack. Yar. Oh, space. Space attacks. Wow. They're a lot stronger than we are. British Viking Vari, hello, or Kari, hello, welcome in, good to see you. Yeah, that double, like you have to press a key to enable the button to let you leave that screen. That's rough. I don't know why we need that much. I mean, you could call that forgiveness, right, in case you accidentally press something and you still wanted to see your score, but I don't know. That's pretty rough. And I'm seeing on our minimap now, this icon down here, I'm assuming that's our treasure chest. Now, what? Can I just brawl against a penguin and win? Hey, whoa! Look at that level up! What? We went from 15 max health to 45! That's a big jump! That's 300% health gain! Prosto, welcome in! Good to see ya! I mean, programmer weak on hit? I don't know what kind of statement that's trying to make, but I feel targeted. Experience gain increased by 1.2. Let's do that. Now that I know like how big of a deal levels are, playing viewers game. Yeah, this is 15 minutes dungeon. This is a developer who reached out to us yesterday, saying that they are introducing, double our damage. Level ups are huge. That they are introducing a brand new visual update to everything and revamping the UI, revamping the graphics. It looks really good. And they thought a before and after stream would be helpful. So that's what we're doing right now. We're doing the before stream. At the end of our stream in about 40 minutes, we'll be giving away 5 keys to this game. And I think there are some interesting ideas here. I really want to keep exploring so I can uncover them. And I think I've seen the trailer for the new update. It looks way better. Way better. They've done a good job completely revamping all this experiential stuff. So you're gonna want to look forward to that. He looks like Lion from Bleach. Okay, so now I picked up this and I've got all this stuff. And I just have space clothes. Did I level up relics or something? Are these all things I can select from? I don't know what this screen is trying to tell me. I just got all of them? Why did I just get all of them? Increase attack power until move to next floor. You could just say increase attack power until next floor. And then as well, we should be title casing and sentence casing things appropriately. All lowercase feels very weird. The lowercase down here is fine. But once again, I don't know why we're using the movement buttons for our controls if we're pausing the game when the modal comes up. Like if the modal did not pause the game, then I could understand that. You keep your hand in one place. It's kind of like a bullet hell. You don't want people leaving their area of safety in order to understand the game state. But I don't know. Feels rough. Heal 30% of max HP. Yes. A little delayed on that. So I just get all of these now? This is crazy. Fully recover HP when leveling up at a low level. What's a low level? What does that count as? Attack +1. Okay. Does that mean I get to attack multiple times or my attack stat has gone up? Because we've talked about attack and we've talked about attack power. Gain experience points when discovering a new room. Hey, I like that. That's a fun one. We do have the red tile on a bevel, so now I kind of think, is this like a platform I'm supposed to step on? And I think maybe I am. I know the blue ones heal, at least. Wow, we are just obliterating things here. Okay. 95 health? Jeez. Deal massive damage to enemies in the room. Whoa, look at all these enemies down here. I want to leave the room because I'm a little bit wary of that time limit. Man, diagonals are rough. I can't interact with that guy. Oh, space. Okay. So new floors are way harder. I'm also wondering if there's a wait button in here. I also wish I could hover over these tooltips to like see what they do. And I really wish I could see what these colored tiles do, because I don't quite remember. Okay, so I can cancel it. It would be good if that, instead of saying cancel, maybe said like leave or not now or something. Cancel, I'm still not totally sure if I'm going to be consuming it or not. Also, the menu screen to in-game transition is very difficult to pull off. Yeah. Latest game I've seen do it competently is Cocoon, since it has very minimal controls and gameplay can be successful, contrasting to this game, which has a sort of learning stage. I could see that. All right, get some more relic. Now I feel bummed because, like, getting an option of one of these three instead of just getting all of them is like, aw. And all of them has far less juice and chroming on it than getting one does. So, like, this feels like it should be better, but it's, like, objectively a lot worse. Learn a new color. Green. Immobilize enemies for 3 turns. Yeah. So, like, in my mind, purple would be that, right? Green for me is absolutely health. Green or red. Let's go with that. Okay. And it's a bummer that these get repeated so often, because these are definitely different effects. And I guess we're like leveling up different tracks is kind of the idea, right? We're leveling up our backpacker skill, leveling up our artist skill, and our programmer skill. I don't know how those relate to the theme of the game at all, but I think I'm kind of understanding what they're going for. But in that case, like, I'd like to know kind of, does it matter how much I invest into each of these tracks? Like, there's just a lot of weird questions that I don't think need to exist, right? More defense? That's our first defense upgrade we've seen. Is this the entire room? There's no other rooms on this? Okay. And just a bunch of healing. All right. Weird sound effect. Oh, dear. We're very dead. Jeez, that was fast. Okay. I think I'm kind of starting to get... Oh. I got 2 achievements. First step for survive 1 minute, and Penguin Hunter slay 1,000 penguins. I don't know how I slew 1,000 penguins. Also, my health is different at level 2 now. Is that a roll? If it's a roll, I'd like to know kind of what are the variable ranges and know what is a high roll, what's a low roll. Experience gain increase, because we know just how ridiculously huge those are. Heal. Yes. Yes. So the only time I'm using 115 health. The only time I'm using diagonals is to like aim for my attacks. Maybe doing 1,000 damage to penguins. That might be it. But that's not what the text says. It says defeat 1,000 peng pens. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let's get some more attack. It would be nice to have like the map be different than the not map, right? So this was like a chasm and then this is tile. Because right now it just feels like an abstract board game, which may be what you're trying to go for, but the rest of the game doesn't really scream that to me. And here, see, we got 4 freaking like level ups. That's a big deal. This is a much bigger reward than the other relics we get when we get the whole like chest opening animation, right? And when this happens, I kind of don't even bother reading them because I'm finding a lack of ability to take ownership over my build in a strong way. It's kind of just like, cool, I have stuff now. I am stronger. And that's a little rough. I'd like to have something more than just stat upgrades, right? I'd like to have... Whoa, was that a crit? That was a nice and juicy sort of crit. Could use some refining, but feels good. Like, I don't even want to read all this. You know? I just kind of want... Like, it's a lot of information to be aware of. Now, why do we have, like, the minimap just exploded with enemies? Add another hat, you monster. All right. My son's burp cloth. You watching only released games? Not necessarily, no. We're about, geez, so is there like a time limit here? Memphis. Guys. Here's a printed out face of Retromation. Bunch of verbs. Yeah, that was rough. So I'm wondering if like just dudes start screaming in if you take too long on a certain floor. Gonna get neck strain. Yeah, jeez. Okay, so we got 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10. I wonder what happens if I hit, like, 10 out of 10. And, yeah, just controlling is really awkward. Not enough hats. Says you, Prosto. Says you. And it's also kind of awkward level. Oh, jeez. Okay, so even when you get really high level, health still matters quite a lot. Sure. And I just want to move into them. I don't want to have to hit space. Like, why does the space bar exist? I'm pretty sure we could do everything we're doing in the game if you just let me move into monsters to hit them. And that's another Jacob's Law thing, I think. Unless there's some reason that you're going to be, like, moving into monsters without wanting to attack them later on, maybe? I don't know. Normal attacks have a chance to immobilize enemies, but I don't know why, like, why would I want that? Because I mean, unless you can get different kinds of attacks, can I get a ranged attack? Like, I've seen, like, these spells pop up every now and again, but I don't know if that would count as an attack or not. Okay. It's also very hard to distinguish which monsters are scary, like, what are their stats? I need some way to, like, since this is kind of a hybrid tactical real-time game, we need some way to differentiate what the stats are of the different monsters. Generate stairs in the surrounding squares. Okay. I'm not wearing hats, only Kephius. Ooh, we got a miss and 14 damage coming back at us. Ouch. Ouchie. Really need some healing. Fully recover HP when leveling up. That sounds good. And yeah, I really want a wait button so I can manipulate the AI a little bit better. Okay, so now we have all of these dudes spawning in. I'm going to use my stairs and just get out of dodge, because that kind of feels like the game saying, you're taking too long, we're going to punish you now. Okay, good. Got level up. All the way healed up. Good, yes. Have about 20 or so very useful piece of clothing. Not a Muslim just like them. There you go. Okay. So yeah, we're kind of just getting these linear stat upgrades. It's hard for me to conceptualize when that would matter. Like when I'm choosing between different relic options, right? Like, I'm not really getting anything of, oh yeah, I'm going for a song build or something, right? It's just kind of like it all just happens. The question is just at what rate it's happening, and I don't have a massive amount of control over that. See, like right there, if I had a wait button, I could have avoided getting hit on that attack. Okay, good. Healing Song. Restore 10% of max HP at the start of each floor. It sounds good. I also don't know, like, what my objective is. Am I trying to get to, like, floor 10? Deal additional damage with normal attacks? Once again, what's a normal attack and what isn't? A piggy! Look out. I think this is the game telling me I'm taking too long again. And all of these are the same. Yeah, that feels kind of bad. All right. Let's test your metal, piggy. Are you, in fact, some pig? Our trap there did a lot of work. Okay. This is fine. This is fine. I don't want to use the stairs yet, because, like, I'm going to get roasted. Generate stair... Well, I don't... Yeah. Oh, jeez. Brutal. Collect 20 skill boxes in total. Unlock Sherpa. I got an achievement, defeat a total of 50 enemies. So what's Sherpa? I want to know what Sherpa is. What's the cool thing that I unlocked? Is it a relic? Is it a new character? Is it, you know, clue me in. What did I unlock? Help me feel good about that. Give me some feedback about the thing that I just accomplished. So we got arrows, which puts that spell in our thing. Attack plus 2, sure. And I don't also really know what attack plus 2 means. Is it a linear, like I will now do 2 more damage? Because if I'm doing like 50 damage, plus 2 damage is not all that big a deal. Okay, definitely heal up. Okay, good, got the level up, got the full heal. Displays the number of remaining items on the floor. That sounds cool. Items left 5. Okay, I like that. That's probably the most unique upgrade I've seen in the game so far. That's very cool. I like that. I want more of that. In Duna Game, it's about Bomberman. When timer drops to 0, a bunch of evil, speed-boosted M&Ms appear to kick players' butts as fast as possible. Interesting. 2D Fighters over on YouTube. Hello, welcome in. What is the black box I can move around on the stream? I'm betting that's the subtitles, Memphis. Yeah, that's the subtitle plugin. Pop-up numbers messed up my UI. You fixed it? Nicely done. Oh, Sherpa. This is Hold on. What does Sherpa mean? A member of the Himalayan people living on the borders of Nepal and Tibet, renowned for their skill in mountaineering. That's what I thought Sherpa meant. It's also a fabric or a thick, soft, artificial material. I don't see anything in definitions about Sherpa being a compass. Also, that NE northeast, south, southwest, you gotta get rid of those. They're way too small. They're just visually distracting. Go in with Photoshop, erase them, nuke them. In Magicite, in some moment, evil wall of flesh-like monster starts following the hero. Okay, I think it's a good way to say, hurry up, man. Yeah, I agree, as long as it's being clearly communicated that that's what's happening. And it's a little weird that there's like that double time constraint, given we have a timer up front we're already trying to beat, and then we also have, yeah, look at that. Look at all those monsters that just spawned in. And especially if I don't have a way to, like, understand when are monsters coming in. That was a clutch level up, by the way. If I don't know, like, at what time frame do monsters come in, that is pretty rough. Unless it's just once a minute. Is it every minute that happens? That might be. I also don't know why sometimes... Oh, shows the location of items on the minimap. That's nice. I don't know why... sometimes monsters aggro and sometimes they don't. It makes it pretty hard to, like, pick out a route, right? I'm gonna try and book it over to these items as fast... Oh, no! No. Okay, that's a bummer. I'm gonna hang out by the stairs until that minute changes to see if that's when the monsters spawn in. 2D Fighter, I love the stair feature. Tell me, what do you mean about the stair feature? Okay, so it's not every minute. Oh, dear. Okay. Are we dead? Yep, we're dead. See, like, that felt bad. Like, I was trying to anticipate what the game was going to do, and I had no way to understand it. That was a big bummer moment. Paint is good. I mean, it seems really strong. We've had a lot of monsters die on traps and stuff. Oh, dear. Let's keep going. We got arrows. Weak on hit. And we have sometimes it references normal attacks, and then we have on hit. Are those referencing different things? Or are they the same thing? If so, let's use consistent terminology. And then on the level ups, I want to know, like, am I progressing down a tree? Because if I am, I want to see, like, what am I working towards? So I can know if we really want to gun for it. Do we hit a break point where we're like, yeah, we got, like, the cool major feature of seeing all the items on the minimap. Now I know I can invest my time elsewhere because I'm not as excited about future level ups in there. Like, I want to know that. I love how you collide with the stairs, the sound it makes, and how you phase into a new room. Oh, very nice. Let's keep an eye on that when we go in on the next one. Because I haven't been paying attention to that at all. I've been so focused on... Oh, man. So even spells take up a turn. That's a bummer. So this is... I mean, this is time... This is Rogue on a time limit, is what this game is. I think that could be really compelling. Just as we've been talking, right? There's a lot of mostly visual communication issues. A little bit in controls and a little bit in, like, gameplay... making something feel a little bit more empowering, like I'm building something. Because, like, even Rogue had equipment, right? And I don't necessarily get that. I mean, we have these classes, I guess, that we're leveling up. But because of the lack of visual communication, it's hard for me to really feel empowered to make choices. Accidentally use that item there. I didn't mean to. And that's another danger of putting having the movement buttons be your UI for that. Let's just go hard into, like, Artist and Sherpa, and let's see what happens. Artist. No items left. We can go to the next floor. Wow. Experience your 10th death. So what? The real game starts here. Never give up achievement. So, it does feel like sometimes you just kind of lose based on luck. And I'm curious if that is the case or if I'm just not really seeing the pattern here. Let's grab our heal down here. And we got 75 health. That's a lot of health. The music is a good choice for this, though. The music is kind of... it's got that beat, the dance sort of style... house music to push you forward. You're on a time limit, right? It fits. It's a good choice. It also does feel kind of dissonant with the visual style. So I'm curious what the new update is going to do for that. Artist and music. We'll be the guy in the freshman dorms that all the other guys hate. Guitarist, attack +1. And I don't see a way to, like, evaluate my stats either. And that feels very unrewarding, right? If I can't, like, see the impact of my level ups, it's almost like they don't even exist. I need a space where I can observe the growth of my character. Did you figure out if the timer had any effect on the game? Well, we haven't stayed alive long enough yet, to. Okay. Yeah, that ch-ch-ch-ch-ch, very like NES style, right? I feel transported back to Castlevania. And I wish Shift would allow me to move with, like, change my facing without moving. Because I wanted to look up and shoot that guy with an arrow. But I couldn't actually do that. Artist. Generating up more stairs. That's good. It's good to have an escape route. That means we can start exploring a lot more fully. Maybe going from floor to floor could be a fade in out instead of moving the camera in 0.1 seconds. Sure, yeah. Well, the enemies get stronger on the same floor the longer you're on it. I think that's probably correct, Jack. Also, on the escape, we have our stats screen, which I didn't know. Also, having everything center aligned, rough. Also, we have some variable names that clearly are not getting masked correctly. I want all this stuff somewhere else. Also, they don't match up. Level 4, level 5. I want all this stuff somewhere on screen in some way, right? Put the experience bar over my health, so like if I'm gonna heal when I level up, I can know that I can be a little more risky. Also, this double box in the modal is rough. Ooh, skill list. I don't know why this is a different thing. Oh, there we go. That's what I've been looking for. So it is a linear tree you're going up. I need this on the level up screen. Learn a new song, hero song, deal additional damage with normal attacks, enhance the effects and probabilities of songs. Okay. So instead of like restoring 10%, well, I don't see probabilities. Oh, except for in Charm, I guess. Charm has a probability. Attack +1 and speed up song. I don't know what that means. No idea what speeding up the song would do. Become invincible for 10 turns. You get the star from Mario. Nice. Deal damage equal to half of the enemy's max HP. Interesting. Interesting. So I guess that's just a better version of red. And then attack and defense. And see, we have a very lackluster upgrade for our level 10. That needs to be the big one, right? Because I'm going to basically get to 8 on that. And then I'm just not going to worry about the rest of the artistry. Now, can I shoot across walls? No. Okay. Good. Artist, I guess? Ooh, got all the O's. Nice. Let's keep going. Not sure if you said, but we need hover effects on all clickables. Yes. 100%, Bob Joe Pie. 100%. And like, I think with all of these, if all of these fixes got implemented, I think this becomes a much more compelling offering, right? Oh dear. Oh dear. Artist. I want a gun for level 8 in artist. Yes, rainbow. I'm curious what the rainbow's gonna look like, because that's a really hard thing to get right. Oh, and we have snare attack song. What is snare attack? Do I have multiple? No. Snare attack song level 1. I have snare song and I have battle song. I don't have a snare attack song. I'm gonna guess it's the snare song and it's just a different name. Arrow. Smash. Okay, good crit. Really need to level up. Oh, man. And that's the other thing, is there's very limited mobility. Ooh, collect 50 items in total, unlock Thief. Give me the icon. Give me the icon for Thief so I can recognize that I'm, like, using that later. Because I'm really excited about that now. Now that I'm getting into the progression of this, and I'm starting to see, like, oh, you are building your own class, and as you go, you're getting different classes, and you kind of construct your own thing. Like, that's really cool. That's really compelling. But it took me like 2 hours to figure that out. You can tell me that in the first like 30 seconds of the game. My goodness. I'm really excited to see what the Thief class does. Like, no joke. I'm genuinely really excited to see that. Crit flash is a bit much for me. Isn't the red background on the numbers enough with the sound? It could be. I think the sound is maybe a little much for me. I agree that all of those things together is a little intense, and I think if you changed the color... Oh, more heals. If you change... Man, more heals. If you change the color to be something a little more palatable, I think it could be pretty okay. I really do. I think just toning some stuff down and make it all feel a little bit more cohesive, because right now it feels like layering like 5 different effects on top of each other instead of this is the crit effect, right? Ah, we got ads. Hold on. All right, welcome back. Oh, camera. Hey, you only broke once today. That's pretty good. Jack, I don't like knowing the effects of leveling up the items. Like in Vampire Survivors, you have to experiment to find what you like and what works well together. So that's playing into uncertainty, right? It's uncertainty about what's going to happen, but then when you discover it, you feel empowered. And you feel very clever, right? So those are very powerful emotional hooks. And those are very good. But we have to learn how to leverage them intentionally. If we're going against a time limit, in my opinion, I don't really want to be discovering. I want to know what I'm doing. If we're allowed to kind of wander around a world and be a little more loosey-goosey, then I'm okay taking the time to discover. But I also have a very low discovery threshold in games, personally. Like Minecraft, I can never do because it's like, oh, I need to look up a wiki in order to figure out how to build anything. No thanks. You know, any wiki game, I can't stand. And I don't have the patience to discover it myself. So maybe I'm not the best person to talk about with that. It's quite odd that level ups don't grant any hit points. They do if you get the level up for it. I think it's in the Explorer class line. But yeah, it's... So Jack, that's Jacob's Law, right? You expect healing on a level up. And when it doesn't happen, your bar goes down. And how much it goes down is going to depend based on the person. But it's a different sort of behavior you're not necessarily expecting. Shadow of the Colossus sticks out to me for VFX, says Finding Focus Dev. Okay, so if none of you subscribe to Cartoon Coffee, go do yourselves a favor and subscribe to Cartoon Coffee over on YouTube. The guy is doing amazing educational material around how to make great VFX in your game. It's really good. He's super, super good. Once again, well, let's go Sherpa and Artist this time. As much as possible. That was an awkward situation. Yeah, I feel if these guys had different, oh dear, different models based on if they, we're dead. Based on if they were going to aggro on you or not. That'd be really helpful for me. All right. So I'm going to try and go, whoa, thief! Look at that icon. When an enemy is defeated, there's a fixed probability of dropping an item. Okay, more probability stuff. Cool. Are these items or are these items? I don't know which one of those is an item. Ouch. Also, it changed my facing there to be towards who hit me, which is kind of nice, but I was already attacking someone else and it was awkward that it brought me away from that. What does Sherpa do? Location of enemies on the minimap. We already have that. Or is that maybe enemies you can't see yet? Shows the location of stairs. That's really helpful. And why is this one red and the other ones aren't? Skill list I can kind of understand, but why is this one different? It's weird. Oh, whoa. All right. Terraria is a heavy wiki game and is wildly successful, but the wiki reliance does have a lot of drawbacks, like ruining pacing for one, says Maro on YouTube. Yes, you're right. And that's why, like, I'm choosing not to say too much about that, because clearly there's a whole, like, market of gamers that does not fit with my mentality in the slightest. Survival crafting games, I can't stand. I've tried so many of them, and I've gotten some that are, like, kind of okay, like Valheim was kind of all right, but, like, man, I just don't have the patience for them. Gotta go, it was nice hanging out. Thank you so much, Memphis Macaroon. It was great having you here. I'm looking forward to playing your game on Monday. By the way, spoilers for everyone, we're gonna be playing Memphis Macaroon's game on Monday. Might be controller button select, could be. Oh, hey, arrow keys. So that's the focus state. Interesting. Okay. Also, another way we could make this UI a little bit better, if we kept these things close together and then moved that close a little bit further down, we start to understand these are different. And you could even incorporate the icons instead of the names for these things. Also, naming consistencies, artist is in all caps, Sherpa and thief are not. Just, you know, basic stuff. Thought so. Yeah, you were right. All right. Seal up. I think we're doing okay on time, but it's really hard to tell. Ooh, we didn't get any, and I do want to eventually get rerolls on this screen. That's something I would expect. I'm getting unlocks for new classes and stuff. Eventually, I would expect to see rerolls on this screen. Okay. I'm trying to go as fast as I possibly can to try and explore a lot of the map, because there are abilities that trigger based on how much of the map you've explored. And I'm kind of curious how you can do that, because it seems like that big wave of death monsters comes in long before you ever reach finding everything. Oops. Ugh. Sherpa. Thief. Heal. And bow. Good. Sherpa. So yeah, I mean, like, the more that weird that they can go through stairs. I wouldn't have expected that. The more I'm playing this, the more I'm, like, kind of getting excited about it, actually. Genuinely. Like, I'm really excited for the new update. Okay, so I'm in a situation now where I don't know if I have time to even go over here and explore all this space. And I think that if I try, I'm going to get trapped by all the monsters. So I'm just going to leave, which kind of feels bad. Yeah, like, I think there's a lot of cool and interesting ideas here, and I think all that polish is going to help a lot. I really can't wait to see what they pull off in that regard. But then as well, if they can get character upgrades feeling really good, then I think it's going to be genuinely a pretty good game. Like, okay, so, like, achievement book description, that's a little rough. You may find something like this and say, it's really rough, right? It's got a long ways to go before it really can accomplish something. And that's true, but I do think the game has good bones. And that's kind of a big deal. Like, I admit, it was really rough getting into this. But now that I'm kind of here, like, I really want to learn what the rules are, and I want to keep exploring these other classes, right? That drip feed of classes, that does a lot for me. I'm really excited about that. I'm just going to leave. Floor 4, I don't know if I'm, like, outpacing myself. Well, maybe not. Whoops. Bye, Retro. I got a dungeon to explore. I don't got time to clean up. By the way, don't ever try that with your significant other. It doesn't work. I've tried it. It doesn't. Just do yourself the favor. Spare yourself the heartache. Don't try that as an excuse. Oops. Okay. Arrow. Good. Sure, we'll heal. Why not? A bunch of stuff. Very good. Increase attack power. Good. Oh, we have things. So now we see all the enemies on the floor. Cool. Right on. I wish there was some sort of benefit to eating when you're at full health, because, like, there was no point in leaving that. I'm never going to be back to that spot. It would be really good if it was, like, you know, plus a 1/10 of an attack or something. Just something minor to reward good play. Ooh, and we have stair generation. Good. Good, good, good. Oh, and there are the stairs. Awesome. So we have enough leeway to start exploring a little bit more. Let's go backpacker. Because we have the spell to generate stairs, which we will use right now and leave. Ouchie. Okay. Aha. Bummer. Oh, man. All right. We've got 4 minutes left. So, for those of you who would like a key to this, I'm just going to make a simple poll. Enter the giveaway for 15-minute dungeon. We have 5 keys to give out. Yes. No. Allow additional votes. And we're just going to do channel points. No, we'll just do it straight up. Enter the poll, say yay or nay, I'm interested. We'll pick at random from those. Honestly, I'm having a good time, which I'm going to be frank, I was not expecting. I wasn't. But the more that I'm in it, the more I'm, like, kind of into it, you know? So, go ahead and join in on that giveaway. Unlock the skill evolution guide. Jack, I think you predicted something. Unlock Ninja. Dodge the enemy's normal attack 10 times a total. This is starting to get, like, really interesting. Skill evolution guide. Yes, I want to see what all of these are. Yes, so programmer and artist. I would love it if it were more thematic. Also, I can't hit the escape menu in here, so I can't check which evolutions I want to start trying to go towards. I think I remember seeing the guitar. Yeah, okay, backpack. Yeah. Like, I wanna see it. I wanna see what happens. Okay. Is it not gonna tell me who voted for it? Twitch. I need to see who voted for it. Oh dear. All right. All right. Shoot. All right, Jack, I think you voted. Let me know if you voted. Here we go. Here's our first key. We'll send it to you through Twitch message. There we go. All right. Who else voted? We got 4 more keys. It'll be first come, first serve. Backpacker, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, like, there's something about this that is tickling me. And I'm totally gonna die here. That's another problem, is, like, it feels like when you get swarmed, there's no way to deal with it, right? There's no way to like run away. I don't have any like movement abilities. The only thing that is my kind of panic button is that generate stairs sort of approach. Jack, you are so very welcome. You can say thank you to the developer of the game. They are the people that are providing those keys. Once again, the game's $3. Like, honestly, I think it's worth it for $3. I'm really excited for that new update. Once that hits, I think it's really going to be worth $3. Create a shadow that dodges enemies' standard attacks. Each dodge reduces shadow count. After 10 turns of non-combat, shadow regenerate? Awkward phrasing, right? They could write that better, but cool. That's like really good upgrade. Oh, help. Thank you. Okay. I don't know where it's like tracking my shadows. Sure, we'll do more ninja. Generate stairs, good. So I can take my time to explore this level. Oops. There we go. Whatever, we'll go thief. Backpack is crucial. Boy, is Backpack 3 really important. To get that heal on level up is huge. Does the creator stream or anything or just make games? I don't know, Jack. I'll ask him. That's a good question. Because we are going to be doing a follow-up when they do push that update. We're going to do the pre and post. We're going to keep all of our stuff we did in Figma, and we'll see kind of like how they approached fixing the problem. It's going to be a good time. Reduce the probability of waking up enemies in a room. See, I didn't even know like I would wake people up. So our percentage chance to aggro has gone down. That's, you know, we want to talk at Jacob's Law. Like, you really need to make sure you're communicating that if that's going to be your system. Have like Z's coming out of their heads or something, right? Some sort of iconography. Grab the backpack. We'll grab thief. Grab hello. 1 second. All right, we're gonna see how well this game plays one-handed. Let's do that. Oop, food, attack power, yes. Heal, good. Oh, and I'm seeing in the bottom left, man, that typography is rough. Defense song, power up grass, and blink 1, blink cooldown 9. Yeah, so there's a lot of like polish to be done in the UI, right? Let's use our stare spell, because I think we're about to get obliterated. Ouch, speaking of getting obliterated, man. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to deal with that sort of a situation. I don't know if that's like a you picked the wrong build sort of thing, or if it's just like they don't give you enough tools to deal with it. I could see either one. The movement does feel smooth, though. On the grid with the diagonals and everything, I was expecting that to be a little more rough. Backpack 3 early, really good. There we go. Backpack and guitar. Okay. Okay. Man, Backpack 3 is so good. It's so strong. Holy cow. It's a bit jank as moving diagonal feels way faster. And that's, yeah, I mean, that's a programmatic thing that's pretty common. So it needs to get worked out. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's probably moving at like 1.4 times the amount of speed because you're moving 2 squares, right? So, and since this is a speed running game, you really want to be optimizing that. So you're going to be trying to move diagonally as much as possible. That's the speedrun strat. All right. I think I'm going to die here. Yep. Shoot. I went too close to the sun. Okay, these aren't the behemoths that I was afraid they would be. Good. Bow, smack. Bow. Got him. And we'll brawl. This is feeling very satisfying, by the way. This feels fantastic. Wow. I'm a golden lion god. Being able to like get through that whole corridor of stuff was great. That was awesome. So I've earned my way to be able to explore the rest of this level. Yeah, I really wish I either had the weight or the ability to face without taking a turn. Guitarist. Oh dear, we have more! That's not good. But we did get the level up heal, which is massive. Okay, here we go. Good. Can we make it to the stairs? We did. Okay, we're surviving. We're surviving. Everything's fine. Nice. Big crits. Yeah, I'd like 1, 2, 3 here. Hello, baby girl. It's a rainbow. Is quiet time over? That means I need to come be a dad, huh? Yeah, what are we gonna do today? You did a mommy-daughter date today. That is so great. Yeah? A mommy-daddy-daughter date? Everyone's invited on the date. Pro tip, don't invite everyone to your date. Jeez. All right, that's it. All right, that's 15-minute dungeon. You know what? Defeat more than 30 enemies on a floor and wipe out all enemies. Hunter achievement. Go-to title. Yeah, it's a little rough.